The sun is directly overhead in the sky, radiating its warm, mild light onto the earth. The shadows of the mulberry trees in the yard have grown longer, and the chickens and roosters are busy scratching the soil near the walls, searching for a morsel to eat. Zara Khanum, who gathered the ingredients early in the morning, has now decided to prepare a delightful and hearty lunch for her family. Her 12-year-old daughter, Layla, is by her side, eagerly following her mother's instructions. Sometimes she asks questions, and other times she gets involved in the tasks. For Layla, these moments feel like a small family ritual that repeats itself every day. The first step in making Qureshi sabzi, Persian herb stew, is preparing the greens. Zara unfolds a large cloth on the ground and pours onto it the fresh greens she picked from her garden. The greens include parsley, fenugreek, cilantro, and spinach. The advantage of using local greens is that their aroma is far stronger than those found in city markets. It's as though every leaf has grown surrounded by the pure mountain air. Zara carefully cleans the greens, inspecting each leaf to ensure no impurities are left behind. Layla asks, "Mom, why do you always spend so much time cleaning them?" "Not everyone is this meticulous." Zara laughs and responds, "My dear, when you do something, you should do it right. These meals aren't just food, they are a part of the love we infuse into life." After cleaning the greens, it's time to chop them. Zara sits on a sturdy little wooden bench and begins chopping the greens with her sharp, dedicated knife. The rhythmic sound of the knife hitting the wooden surface creates a pleasing melody. Layla sits next to her, gathering the chopped greens and placing them into a large bowl. The crown jewel of Qureshi sabzi is its incredible flavor and aroma, brought out patiently from the simplest ingredients. Zara begins by placing a heavy copper pot onto the firewood stove and adding a bit of local oil into it. As the oil heats up slightly, she adds diced onions. The sizzling of onions in the oil is music to the ears, and the sweet, caramelizing aroma soon fills the air. Layla leans closer to catch their scent more vividly. Smiling, Zara adds the finely chopped greens to the pot with care. Their vibrant, glossy green color mixes beautifully with the roaring oil. Once the greens are sautéed perfectly, it's time for the next crucial ingredient, the meat. This morning, Zara picked up fresh lamb from their neighboring butcher, and now she carefully places the chunks of meat into the pot. Layla observes her mother with curiosity and asks, "Mom, does the meat need to be tender before adding it, or just like this?" Zara replies, "It doesn't have to be tender yet, my dear, but it does need to be fresh and high quality. After that, the heat and time will do the rest." Now, they need to wait. The meat simmers with the greens in the pot, gradually melding its flavors, much like a story that builds layer by layer, unfolding its beauty with patience. Zara adds a glass of verjuice, sour grape juice, to the pot. The tartness of Qureshi sabzi has to be just right, not overly sharp so as to overpower the other flavors. Meanwhile, in another corner of the kitchen, Zara skillfully prepares smoked rice, barangi dudi. She washes the rice with cold water and lets it soak for a while. During this time, she places a stone pot on another stove and waits for the water inside to boil. Zara has a tiny secret for preparing her smoked rice. At the exact moment she adds the rice to the boiling water, she enhances its aroma by sprinkling in some salt and adding a touch of local oil. With every step, Zara pours her heart into the cooking process, and Layla, sitting beside her, watches closely like an apprentice, learning not only culinary skills but also the underlying values of love, patience, and care. Together, they create not just a meal, but a shared memory, a piece of everyday life that, in its simplicity, carries the warmth and connection of family. As soon as the stew was simmered to perfection and the rice was nearly ready to cook, Zara came up with the idea to prepare a few fresh breads to accompany the meal. The bread dough had already been prepared and was resting on a shelf filled with handmade items in the house. Zara spreads the dough on a wooden board with her plump yet agile fingers. Then, using a special tool, she shapes the bread into perfect rounds and skillfully places them inside the oven. Moments later, the delightful aroma of freshly baked bread fills the air, and Layla unknowingly touches her stomach. Now that the food is completely ready, Zara brews some local green tea as well. She takes out a large clay teapot from the shelf and places the tea leaves inside. She adjusts the small flame on the stove so the tea can steep slowly and gently. Layla spreads out a large cloth in the middle of the yard, a cloth featuring colorful patterns that was handwoven years ago by her grandmother. Clay plates are set around the cloth, with one spoon and a small bowl of fresh buttermilk for each person. Layla's father, weary from the plains and pastures, walks into the yard with a smile and says, "Well done. This place has turned into a heavenly restaurant, Zara dear." The small children from the neighborhood peek into the yard and, upon their mother's invitation, join the feast. Layla spreads out a large cloth in the middle of the yard, a cloth featuring colorful patterns that was handwoven years ago by her grandmother. Clay plates are set around the cloth, with one spoon and a small bowl of fresh buttermilk for each person. Layla's father, weary from the plains and pastures, walks into the yard with a smile and says, "Well done. This place has turned into a heavenly restaurant, Zara dear." The small children from the neighborhood peek into the yard and, upon their mother's invitation, join the feast. Now the family sits together. The meal begins. With each spoonful of food that is tasted, the gathering grows warmer and the smiles deepen. The occasional laughter, heartfelt conversations about work and life, and the sparrows perched on the nearby tree fill the home with life. Layla excitedly says, "Mom, this is the best day ever. I feel like everything is just perfect." Zara replies, "Everything was made with love, my dear. Our day is not just good but complete." The sun slowly slid down from the heights of the sky, casting its golden rays upon the hills and lush green fields surrounding the area. The village was immersed in the cheerful sounds of chirping sparrows and the gentle breeze that rustled through the walnut trees. Today was a special day for our family. We had decided to build a small cabin together, a cozy place to rest and enjoy the serenity of nature. Early in the morning, just as the sun was beginning to wake, my mother, father, and I made our way toward the hills near the village. The path we took meandered alongside a crystal-clear river and was shaded by towering maple trees. It warmly welcomed the rhythm of our steps. My brother carried a large basket filled with fresh seasonal fruits, including juicy red apples and sweet grapes, while my little sister, who had just turned 5, proudly carried a small wooden box packed with hand tools like hammers and screwdrivers. Each of us had a task, and the excitement in our faces brimmed with anticipation. When we reached the spot we had chosen, it seemed as though nature itself was lending a hand. The ground was wide, flat, and covered in soft green grass. A melodious breeze passed through the oak branches, creating a soothing symphony of rustling leaves. My father pulled out the simple blueprint he had sketched the night before. The cabin was going to be modest and small, yet it meant so much to us. More than just a structure, it was to be a place of comfort and connection with the natural world. We eagerly set to work, filled with enthusiasm and energy. My mother carefully examined the wooden beams we'd prepared from old, weathered trees and asked my brother to assist my father in setting them into the ground. My little sister insisted on helping, though her contribution was mostly adding joy and laughter to the morning rather than actual construction work. Her task was to clean the prickly twigs from the branches we'd trimmed, and she proudly showed us how professional she had become at it. My contribution was gathering and organizing stones to form the base of the cabin, a set of stones that would later be used to build a chimney within. The sun's rays gradually grew heavier on my shoulders, yet the joy of teamwork overcame any sense of fatigue. With calm precision, my father, wielding his sturdy hammer, began securing the wooden beams together. Each strike of the hammer echoed through the hills, creating a rhythmic thunk-thunk sound that mixed harmoniously with the calls of the birds, forming what felt like a natural symphony. As the day progressed, our small corner on the hill became a lively hub of activity, a mix of labor, laughter, and bonds being strengthened through shared determination. The smell of fresh earth and wood filled the air, and the golden sunlight, painting patches of light and shadow across the hilltop, felt like an embrace from nature itself. Around noon, we decided to take a break and enjoy a homemade meal by the river. My mother set out a colorful spread, fresh bread straight from the oven that morning, handmade cheese with fragrant herbs, and a bowl of cool, fresh yogurt. We sat under the shade of a large walnut tree and savored the simple yet delicious meal. The sound of the rushing river, combined with the laughter of our family, created a sort of heavenly tranquility. My little sister, with her tiny hands, kept picking apples for us and asking, "Are these apples bigger or are my hands?" Her innocent question brought laughter to the group, and my father gently stroked her head with affection. After our break, we got back to work. As the sun began to move from its highest point in the sky, the temperature grew pleasantly cooler. During this time, my mother prepared a simple curtain out of old fabric to use for the small windows of the cabin. The colors of the curtain, a blend of red and yellow, seemed to strangely harmonize with the hues of the sunset. Gradually, the cabin construction came to an end, sturdy wooden walls, a simple roof made of branches and leaves, and a small indoor fireplace built from stones I had collected earlier in the day. When my father hammered the final nail into the wooden roof, we all clapped, and our happiness spilled into the evening air. By sunset, when the sky turned shades of orange, we gathered around to have a little celebration for the opening of the cabin. Inside the fireplace, we lit a fire, and its warm glow illuminated the modest wooden roof above. My mother had prepared one of our delicious traditional meals, ash reshta, a Persian noodle soup, for dinner, and the aroma of it filled the open air. We sat together, talking, laughing, and listening to the sounds of nature. My brother hung a swing on a nearby tree so that my little sister could enjoy our new cabin even more. Even as night fell and the stars appeared across the sky, we lingered around the fire, sharing dreams and tales of village life. That day showed us how family and nature can come together to create a pure and special moment. Our little cabin became a symbol of unity, a place where memories were made and where our shared love for a simple, rural life grew stronger.